That seems loud. If that was too loud, I'd like to apologize. That's not the way I wanted to start things off today. I wanted us to be comfortable with one, and look, one of these days I'm not going to be doing this stuff to lower the volume of the music. That's just, it's amateurish. It's just not the standards that this show is about, and that's going away. So if you're new to this channel, watching over there on the tube of Eunice, which is where this is from now on, welcome to the channel. I would invite you, of course, to subscribe, and be sure to click the bell so that you'll be notified when we go live. This particular show is about, well, it's about answering your law of attraction questions, but it's also about why this long tradition of doing these live Q&As is coming to an end, starting today, at least in the format that it has been. For the time being, let's welcome in Leanne, and that's Dawn right there, and Georgia, and Sarah, and Dawn, and Steve, and you can read. And you can be a part of this, of course. Please participate in the live chat. That would be awesome. I would love you to like this video. I know you haven't seen it yet, but just trust me, you're going to be like, whoa, I wish there was like the double love button. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? Miss Nessa has also joined. I can prove it, because it says so right there. I'm not a liar, and from that you can trust everything I say from this point on. Before we go too much further, this is a link. It says bobdoyleshow.com/LOA playlist. It's going to disappear in just a second, I think. Yep, see? For those of you who are interested in Law of Attraction Q&A, and since I just said I'm going to stop doing it here, but you would like to, if you're new and you haven't seen it before, that link will take you to the Law of Attraction playlist that I have on a different channel, which has all of these previous Law of Attraction Q&A sessions in there. So there is just so much to catch up on that way. So if you have Law of Attraction questions, hi Crystal, Loretta, Cheryl, Irma. See, it's like I'm psychic, but no, I can just read. So if you have Law of Attraction questions, you're happy. You're happy to answer question. Wow. This is one of those days when I poured coffee and then there were a lot of grounds floating around in there, and I have a theory that if you have grounds in your, it's like double. I said it was a theory. I'm not a coffee expert. So once again, right now you're going, boy, how do I subscribe to more of this? The Bob Doyle Show is a little different than this, and I invite you to check out the previous episodes of that so you can get an idea of what you'll be getting into with a subscription to this channel. But because I am probably best known, as of now, as one of the featured teachers in the film and the book The Secret, teaching Law of Attraction since 2002, you know, I have enjoyed coaching people in this work through just these live Q&As that I've been doing on and off for a couple of years now or so. But because there's a few things going on, but because of the new direction of the show, the fact that we are moving it over to YouTube and really trying to turn the Bob Doyle Show, which is, it's basically silly. But we have fun, don't we have fun, for those of you who know that we have fun? And so we're trying to put our attention there, and I kind of think that this might be a bump in the road for some folks, but that's not really the reason. The reason is that part of the show, part of what we're doing with the show is we've got a Discord channel that there's a link to that where you can become really part of the community that is building this show, because that is what's happening. It's not just me going crazy trying to make a YouTube channel work. It's the community as a whole who has supported me up to this point. Some of them are Law of Attraction coaching clients. Some of them are just Facebook friends. I don't mean that in a bad way. You know, like just Facebook friends. You know what I meant. It's just love here, right? But we're all working together to create this show. And we'd love for you to be a part of it. The Discord channel is one way to do that. We'll also be opening up a Patreon page, and that's kind of where this is going. The Patreon page, Patreon is a way for people to basically give people a way to pay you for your creative efforts, okay? So I've been working on that page for a while now, but really put some focused effort into it the last few days to create the various tiers and different levels you can come in, and basically hang on to your hats, but just remember, there's hours of free stuff. I feel like I've got a coffee grind in my teeth. Oh, I do. See? But look, this is the kind of honest relationship we have. I'm not embarrassed by it. Well, I'm a little embarrassed, but it's not gonna keep me up at night. I've forgotten it already. Let's check in with you guys real quick. The best silliness, so fun. We've got social proof happening here. This is so huge. But what's happening is that part of Patreon is, it's kind of like a membership, but there's different levels. And since there's a lot of different levels to the Bob Doyle Show and the things that I do and the various offerings I have for the world, be it the silliness of the show, ukulele, law of attraction expertise, there's different levels you can come in, but it becomes sort of a paid thing. That's right. So when you come in at a certain paid level, you would have access to various that level and everything before it. And one of them is these live Q&As. So it wouldn't be open to the public anymore. It would be open to those who are supporting the Bob Doyle Show page in that way. So you come in, and it's just like this. It'll be probably in a private Facebook group that will change. And if you've bought in at that level, then you can come in and for as long as it takes, we answer your questions. Much like this, except actually it's a little bit better because it's more personalized, because now you're part of the community and we know who you are. Okay, so it's, it's not full-on coaching, right? But it is a way for you to get more personal, just a different level of law of attraction support than just the live Q&As. And quite frankly, if I do say so myself, I feel like I contribute some value. So if you're really serious, boy, let me rephrase that because that's just so yucky and markety. If you're really committed, to your law of attraction journey and making strides and kind of going beyond just the Q&A, then that's something that you might want to consider. I'm very close to opening up that Patreon page, probably either later today or tomorrow. That's how close I am. And look, it's my first run at a Patreon page. I'm by no means an expert, and if the tiers just don't make sense, then okay then. But I think that they do, at least for a starting point. Okay, and Les Miss Nessa says, the smaller groups are more personal. It's a better way of interacting. So yeah, I think it's just sort of a win-win, right? Everybody just kind of gets supported in a way that's fair. And obviously, there's all kinds of different things. Like we've added all sorts of things to make this show build in a way from through contribution. Right now we are, the goal is to get the YouTube channel up to the state where it needs to be to monetize. Anyway, I'd really like to get into law of attraction questions right now if you have them. Let me just, Leanne says, this is funny because I have thought this same thing. I'm going to share this comment. It is this. These emojis creep me out. The YouTube, nice picture, Leanne. The emojis on the YouTube chat are weird. They're all like squishy, and like the smiley faces are like melted egg yolk or something. It is very odd. I acknowledge your observation of that. So if you don't have any law of attraction questions right now, if you are new and if you're just watching this, let me just kind of give you a basic philosophy of how I approach the law of attraction so you can consider whether or not you even want to go back and watch the other stuff, if I could click the button correctly, at bobdoyleshow.com/LOA playlist. So I've really moved, for the most part, well beyond just explaining the basics of the law of attraction in terms of everything is energy and all that stuff. I assume that most of us know it. I will always touch on it a little bit, but mostly in the context of addressing the more important issues. If you really think about why you even have an interest in the law of attraction, the end result, the end game is you want to enjoy your life more. And whether you believe that that's through, attracting the perfect relationship or having a certain amount of money or that house, wherever, you want that feeling of I love my life, right? And that's really what's important, is that feeling of I love my life. All these things that we say that we want, these are our best ideas for getting us that feeling. Truly. There may be better ways, but we know, well, we're pretty sure that if we had that house, that relationship, this amount of money, I'd have that feeling. And there's nothing wrong with that, except to the point where we get attached to it. And as we learn more about ourselves, which we have to do if we're going to really become powerful manifestors, because we have to learn who we really are. This is the number one key. As we learn more about that, we may find that our vision, the things that we've said we wanted our whole lives, they may change. And there may be some resistance to that. your ego's going to come up with some resistance. And so the whole idea now is, my approach to teaching the law of attraction is really more about support, I guess, ongoing support, which is why I've moved so much to the group coaching model, and just coaching in general, doing more coaching rather than just, hey, here's some information, do with it what you will. Here's some information, do with it what you will. That's why I like doing these live Q&As, because at least there's some interactivity, which we should check on. Oh, goodness. We've got visitors. I don't know can I put user in timeout? I learned something. Okay. All right. So anyway, the point is this. If you're the way that I've approached the law of attraction as of late is way more, I think, practical in nature and not theoretical. It's about understanding, first of all, who do you want to be? If you're not thinking of that first, then I'm telling you the process is going to seem slow. You may feel like the results are not what you want, right? Because they're not in alignment with who you really are. Because here's the underlying, one of the other underlying premises here is that so many of us live into the expectations of others. That's how we've defined ourselves. That's how we've defined our way of being. And yet sometimes we know that we're not that. And yet we push it down, we put it in the back, we do whatever, and we compromise our being. We compromise who we are in the world so that others will be more comfortable, right? And when that happens, we start to just literally die inside, because part of us just isn't being expressed. And that's what it feels like, that worry and that depression and that fear and that anxiety. That's all because we're not able to be who we are. It's a very, and it's so common. And so when people come into this law of attraction conversation and they're not clear on that stuff, it's just a long road. Because sometimes they're really truly chasing after something that they don't really want. It doesn't really serve who they are, and it's not going to give them that feeling that they are going for. But that feeling is the most important thing, because that's what is creating the vibration that creates the alignment in the first place. I'm going to change something real quick, check over here. Troll emoji. I have a hard time feeling good about my furniture. I need a new sofa, and I cannot feel good when sitting on the old one, Irma says. Well, I'll bet you could. Could you sit on something else? You sit in your car. Find any comfortable seat anywhere on the planet. Close your eyes and see your couch. You don't have to use your couch as a model if it's really that uncomfortable. Go find something comfortable, close your eyes, and then it'll probably be easier to ease into that imagination that you're sitting on something more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? How do you create a feel? This is a great question. I'm going to have to switch back and forth here. How do you create a feeling that you've never had before? This is a huge, very common question. A lot of people relate it to money. How do I feel abundant if I've never felt abundant before? Here's the problem. Let's just use abundance as an example. We've put a label on it. We've put a word to that feeling called abundance, and that has all this meaning to it. It means money, for example, right? But it's not the feeling, it's the money. Look, if you are uncomfortable, then even though you may not be able to put a label on it, and if abundance seems like, well, I can't define that, you have an idea of the feeling that you want. It's the opposite of this, right? It's what you imagine. Maybe it's relief. Maybe it's I've got all the time I need. Whatever it is for you. But when we get stuck on putting a label on it, Crystal, I'd like to know. Maybe I wonder, what is the feeling? Like, I could probably answer the question more specifically if I knew exactly what the feeling is you're trying to have. But you've got some idea, or you wouldn't be in this position. You've got the desire. So don't get stuck on maybe trying to put a label to it or locking into it or feeling like you got to do it in any particular way. What does relief from the negative feeling feel like? And don't worry about how you would even describe it to somebody, because these feelings that we have, they're very complicated. Our emotions, we've labeled things like happy, sad, angry, worry, but really each of those is probably a complex layer of all sorts of emotions that we've never even put labels on. Love, I think. this feeling that we call love, like romantic love, that's such a different thing than the love that holds the universe together. But because we've defined romantic love in such a way, it actually creates problems with relationships, because it has to either be this way or that way. If you love someone in this way, then what? That means you got to marry them, or they're exclusive, or whatever. That's society imposing a role on an emotion, right? And we do this all across the board. All right, so Tommy says, eat ice cream while chanting money. Man, that works for you. You should absolutely do it. My ex wants to work on a relationship, but baby steps. I know you're dealing with trust stuff, Kathy. I know you've shared that before. Putting on music helps you get into a certain feeling. Whatever you got to do. But really, there's so many people who put pressure on themselves to do it right. The law of attraction in general. I've learned it's this way. I learned you can't feel this. I've learned you can't do that. Or you have to do this so many times a day, or whatever. Or it's going to be hard, or it's going to take a long time. I've got all these issues. All these preconceived notions, all this wiring that slows down the process, which can really be so much easier, but we have to figure it all out first. And I've said that I have unknowingly, unwittingly, over the course of my career, in retrospect, I know that I might have been part of the complication problem, because I was so fixated on here's how the law of attraction works. Because for me, I needed to know that it wasn't just some goofy new age thing, that there was an actual, even though it may have not been defined correctly in a science book or a metaphysical book, but it's something in between. I know of which I speak. And I've been spending all these years trying to explain it and untangle sort of the oversimplified myth type stuff, like attracts like and whatever, that just causes people confusion. But I'm realizing you can truly bypass. You don't have to understand any of this. You don't have to understand any of the law of attraction to make it work for you, because it's working for you anyway. What you do need to understand is, who are you? Who do you want to be? That's why I do coaching. Zing, zang, zoo. See what I did there? Some of you, look, those of you who have been watching me on Facebook know that probably knew that was coming. Subscribe, by the way. See, that's bold, right? Here, I'm going to send you to a page that's about offering coaching, which probably irritated some of you. Oh, what? Well, new people, not the people who've been with me for a while. But I'm just saying, the reason now that I offer coaching, either in group or private, but right now just private, is because when you start this journey, you have a million things in your head trying to stop you. Probably more than a million. And if you don't have some support in detangling those or rewiring, you're going to stop. And then you'll say, oh, the law of attraction is a bunch of nonsense. I tried, it didn't work. I did everything, blah, 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 blah. But you don't know what you don't know. And if you hang around in a lot of law of attraction circles, or you go to meetups, or you do the same stuff over, and everybody's stuck, everybody's having the same conversation about how much they love the law of attraction and all of this stuff, but they're still like it's still too much of a journey, it's not happening, then that's why you get coaching. And that's why it's an investment. And this is it's all ties into like why I'm going to Patreon with the law of attraction stuff. People need to invest in them. So they got to have skin in the game. And I know that's not true 100% of the time. I know that doesn't apply to every single person. Some people will take free advice, free guidance, free coaching, and actually put it into action. But guys, the vast majority of people do not. And I know that I do these law of attraction things, and however many people end up seeing them, whether they're watching them live or not, it's a very small percentage of people who actually take what I'm talking about and put it into practice for a long enough time that they can actually see results. Crystal, that's right, that's right. I hope you guys are keeping up with the chat too, because the chat's really cool. There's lots of cool people in here. Wouldn't you like to be a part of that community? Well, you can be. You can jump over to Discord right now. The link's down there. Or you can wait a couple of days till I do the Patreon page. So many options. So many. But anyway, whether or not you decide to do coaching, boundlessliving.com/private coaching for those of you listening on the podcast. Oh yeah, this is a podcast too. You didn't know that, did you? Well, surprise, 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 as Gomer Pyle would say. But I'm not here to talk about that right now. Even with the grounds, it's pretty good coffee, I must say. I must say. At the very least, I'd invite you to, if you're new, if this law of attraction conversation interests you at all, go back and watch. Go to the other one. Hold on, I'm going to find it for you. This one here. BobDoyleShow.com/LOA playlist. Watch the last few. Or you can go to the private coaching page that I've been giving you, and there's a video or two there, lots of testimonials from people who I've worked with, and so on. And what that offer is on that page is basically a 1-hour session that's not free, but it's like a 50% discount on my normal coaching rate. And you leave there with something of real value, an actionable item. It is not a sales call, because you already know that I'm offering private coaching. This isn't something surprising. If at the end you want to go forward, we go forward, and you get a package, and that's it. And if you don't, you still leave with value. Now, I've done this for a few people already, and they seem pretty happy. All right. I love the fact that you guys are having your conversations over here. We've even got some LOLing going. Drink the Kool-Aid. No, that doesn't sound good. Way too much sugar. All right, does anyone have a law of attraction question, please? That's what this is about. It's not about me talking about this. And all the other stuff. If there is one thing I can leave you with today, and it's basically the same thing I've been saying, I would really invite you to, number one, if you don't meditate, figure that out. Okay? There's a million free apps. You got no excuses. Just learn. Just get it into your life. It can be a minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10, 30, 60. Whatever you can do, you must reset your mind every now and again, because you are filling it with so much input all day, so many different ideas, so many layers of it. You got to give it a rest. Meditation's the best way. So do it. Everything about this conversation is going to work better for you if you can incorporate that into your life. Can I get an amen from my crowd? Yay! They're all saying, yay! You watched. In any minute now, you're going to start seeing amen, 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 amen. Well, what's funny is that's totally not. I said you're going to see amen, amen. There we go. Amen. See? I can see. And if you look, I'm psychic too. All of that, and I can predict the future. So you're going to be wanting to jump over here right away, I'm sure. I don't know if I can actually type the URL into this or not. It may block that. Let's find out. Maybe Dawn already did. I don't know. Private coaching. Well, yeah, it looks like it works. How about that? I could have made that a lot easier for everybody instead of doing this all the time. Okay. Instead of doing this all the time. But I like this. This is fun. I'm easily amused, however, so, you know, I like the geeky stuff. Okay, now see, here's what's going to happen. The new people, here's what's historically happened. The new people come to the channel. They saw Law of Attraction Q&A. They came here. They did not ask questions. But look, if you're one of those people and you're cross-armed and you don't know why you're watching because you're so angry at me right now, but you're still watching, well, that's the magic of the show. So just comment below. But instead of railing on me and saying he just rambled on about this and his Patreon page and all this other stuff, he didn't answer anybody's questions. I did answer everyone's question who asked one. And if you have a question, you can ask it in the comments. And I'll do my very best to answer it. So don't, this is just how we do things here. Well, that's not how I want it. Okay, then you don't have to you don't have to subscribe, but I wish you would. I think I'll grow on you. There's always those people that sometimes you just hate them at first. And then for some inexplicable reason, a couple of months down the line, I know some of you right now are very upset at what I'm saying because you're going, how could anyone hate you at first? I know. Look, this is a hypothetical example. YouTube's a different environment. See, on Facebook, we're already inherently friends for the most part when you come my way. This is kind of like the difference between when The Secret first came out and it was shared with only people on the email lists of all the people who were in it. So, of course, the reaction was almost 100% positive. To then when those people said, hey, you got to come over and watch The Secret. You need this. Mm-hmm. Don't ever do that. Dude, you need to see this movie. And then they all watched it and they weren't in the conversation already. Thinking, well, what are you talking about? This is a bunch of... Right? So see, it's kind of the same paradigm between moving to the friendly, loving arms of Facebook into the wild of YouTube. We experienced it once already today. We had to put someone in timeout, which is a thing I didn't even know you could do. But see, how fun that we learned it together. Timeout. All right. But look, I'd say to give it a fair shake, 90 days. No, I'm kidding. Seriously, if you just checked in, now to do this, of course, you're going to have to subscribe and then click the bell so that you can be notified when I go live. And then you'll get that notification. You'll go, oh, it's that guy. All right, fine. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to peek. Now, you do that 3 or 4 times during the course of the week. If you just make yourself do that, then I think maybe, I can't say for sure, but I pretty much think it's like a drug. That once you get started, it's very difficult to put down. What am I talking about? I don't know. Oh, okay. Hey, Miss Nessa, thank you. I'm so glad I saw that. You're viewing repetitive numbers. Well, all I can really say for sure is that it's some kind of alignment, because there's nothing, look. This will make people's eyes roll who are skeptical and dubious about this, because if I say, well, there are no coincidences, that's a major trigger for people to go, oh, one of those people. But my whole premise of the entire law of attraction conversation is there are, of course, reasons why energy behaves the way it does. There's a law of how these atoms and molecules and all the stuff that makes up the universe come together to form our experience of reality. That's the law of attraction I'm talking about. Doesn't have anything to do with a personal development tool by itself. That's the law I'm talking about. So if something like that happens, a 1 1 1 1, a 1 2 3 4, it's really our interpretation of them that gives it the meaning. There is alignment, and we will intuitively know if there is a message there, or we get that good, cool feeling. There's nothing wrong with that. It happened, and there's nothing coincidental about it. It happened. It happened, and your entire experience of reality is based on what you're putting out there energetically. So there is a dance going on. So that's my answer. It's 10:28 now, ladies and gentlemen. Technically 2 more minutes left in the program for any 2-minute questions. And again, I'm so glad that you called attention to Nessa's question. I would have felt horrible sitting there going, oh, come on, ask questions. And go, well, I guess there's no questions the whole time. Numbers, numbers, numbers. I'll try to do better. It's a new system. I'm looking in a totally different place at the comments now. Everything's different. Someone 3 years ago told me about it all, and now it's me who understands what it means. Thank you. Yay. All right. Awesome. There's a lord of questions I missed. What? A lot? Hold on. But I'm going to scroll up and see. Numbers. For meditation, goals. How do you change your energy when negativity comes to you? Oh, so what you mean is, I missed your question. I'm just kidding. Well, look, negativity, and I'm going to even go long for you. Negativity is a response. It is us making meaning out of something, right? Things just are. Energy just is. Events just are. There's no meaning. It's not negative or positive until we give it the meaning. And when you understand that, it gives you a lot of freedom and a lot of choice to make different decisions about how you want to feel. We get stuck in the negativity because we really truly believe we are wired to interpret this as negative. And it's difficult for our ego to try to pull ourselves out of that kind of wiring. It's our brain. We have to train it to go to a new place to create new wiring. So, but the very first step is observing, oh, I'm having a negative response. I don't have to. It may or may not be appropriate, but getting stuck in it is never appropriate. It's a guidance system, remember. So when we feel that negativity, it says, oh, we're out of alignment. What can we do right now to get back into alignment? Is it to observe that we're having just this sort of knee-jerk experience and then just disengage? Is it to do some sort of a release technique like EFT or PS Tech or any of the other tools? See, now they're all pouring in. So, so the last part of that statement, using these tools to release would be one way. But it's also about just really getting focused on how do you want to feel. And then when you try to tune into that feeling, what is your ego? What is the voice saying about why you can't just settle into that feeling? What are the words that your mind is telling you about? Like if something negative is happening and you want to choose a good feeling and you try to imagine it, what does your brain say about why you should be negative? It's going to be different, a little bit different for everybody, but that's a good clue to look at. And then Tommy says, what about faking emotions to aid with attracting and drawing things in? I think faking, again, is another poor word because we mean that it's not true. We make fake mean not true. If we can strip that, what you're really doing there, of this word fake, and take all that meaning away, we're visualizing. It's what we're here to do. It's exactly how we create our reality. It's not there till we bring it in somehow, whether it's on autopilot or through intention. So that intentional shift is what you're calling faking. You're only faking if you say it's not true unless I actually have this thing in my hand. But remember, it's the feeling. Imagining is a God-given, free of charge right, which is neither right nor wrong, true or false. So you use your imagination, not fake. You're using your imagination to create a scenario that you're not currently experiencing in the physical right now so that you can become in alignment with it and it can become a part of your experience. Now see, what's the difference between visualizing and daydreaming? Says Nessa. Not that much. Daydream, it really, not that much. Daydreaming might actually be a better word because daydreaming visualizing almost sounds mechanical at this point, doesn't it? I'm going to go into my visualization. It almost sounds unemotional. Daydreaming, more associated with emotion, right? Getting swept up into the emotion of your thing. So daydream. It's the same mechanism, right? Whatever label you want to put on it that makes it more fun and enjoyable for you, do that. I see what Crystal is saying about daydreaming is not focused. If you're all over, if by daydreaming you mean inherently that you're all over the place, then okay. But it's still, if you even if all over the place, it's generating the feeling you want. It doesn't matter, because remember, we're not worried about the specifics. We're not worried. We're delighting in the feeling. And if swimming across a lot of images with no attachment, specific attachment to any of them, gives you that feeling, then go for it. For a lot of people, not being able to lock in on one feeling or one particular vision, it frustrates them and thinks they're not doing it wrong, and they make them wrong, and that generates a negative feeling, and that's where specificity is going to help you. Hope that makes sense. See, I came back with rebuttals to two of you. Again, we don't we really want to be careful about judging the process itself. It's about what helps us to generate those feelings, because that's what's important. All right, you guys. Well, this has been great. So remember, balanceliving.com/private coaching if you want to just even explore the possibility of us working together. This has been the very last of these. Watch this space. I'll be announcing on the Bob Doyle Show page and on the Bob Doyle Show itself when the Patreon page is open, and how you can avail yourself to the law of attraction stuff if you want to, and then all the other different things that are going to become available with the Patreon page. I'm very excited about it. I hope I get enough people excited about it that it's worth it. But again, I'm committed to it for the long term. So it doesn't matter. I'm doing it anyway, with or without you, to quote you two. Goodbye, Sarah. Goodbye, Crystal. Goodbye, Georgie. Goodbye, Dawn. Goodbye, Kaladi. Goodbye, Loretta. Goodbye, Rockin' Raven. And Jim and everybody else who is there, who has scrolled off the screen. I'll see you tomorrow, 10 o'clock, right here, where it's Virtual Reality Thursday.